Welcome to episode 128 of The Nero Show. In today's episode,
some bike sponsors may be changing teams in the World Tour next year. Specialized, Pinarello, Bianchi, where are they going?
The UCI are keen on banning a few things, maybe even Jesse's new position. We take a look at it.
Then we've got our usual dog or fast bike. Chris updates me on what happened at the Giro d'Italia, and Chris may be at the end of the road as far as gravel racing goes. We chat through what happened to him.
All right, let's get into it. Right, you come to the Nero Show for your pro cycling bubble chat.
Yeah, what do we got?
Well,
someone's been in your ear? Yeah,
I've been digging around.
Okay.
I've been sniffing around as I do these days. Look, I do want to at some point potentially discuss the Giro with you. I know you may not off.
We might get there.
We
Let's
might
see.
get there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking we might go for a few 2026 rumours.
Oh yeah, love it.
You thinking
okay.
that? All
yeah.
right.
What have?
So here's what's sort of slid into my DMs this week. And
so some of this could be real rumours. Some of this we could have just completely made up. It's up to you to
I
figure
didn't
out.
make any of these up.
Oh,
no. Oh,
right.
Well,
maybe I'll throw a few in.
Okay, you can go rogue on a few. All right. Well, I'll start us off with this one.
Okay.
Which I think's the headliner. If we're doing this the thumbnail or the whatever, this could be it.
Okay.
Specialized to INEOS 2026.
All right. Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Lines up with the Remco rumors.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So he goes to INEOS.
He goes to INEOS. But as a general vibe, you happy with that?
No, I really like the Pinarello INEOS thing. I always thought that was really cool. And the other question is it specialized to INEOS, or a specialized just going to sponsor another team?
Yeah.
Suddenly there's like 20
specialized
SL8s
teams
in the Tour de France.
That would be particularly disappointing. Well, they don't really have an answer to any of these questions, but I don't know whether it is the obvious one there would be Soudal going to INEOS, but yeah, don't know whether it's them going or an additional one. But
so you mean Specialized going to INEOS?
Sorry, Specialized. What
from
did I say?
Soudal. Yeah, from Soudal. You said Soudal going to INEOS. Yeah. So that would, if they did that would then leave, which would, like Remco's the star rider for that team. So if they didn't have him there, who are you really there for? Tim Merlier for some sprints. So you it would make sense if they just jump ship. And then that leaves a spot for another bike brand to come in, which I like. A more variety is good. Yep. I like to see a bit of...
Weird fit, I would have thought, Specialized and INEOS, because they both have their own, I think, take on performance development, the general marginal gain type things. Like,
I feel like
it's
INEOS,
a very British cycling-y type thing, how that fits into the Californian Specialized lab vibe.
They seem to like to have a bit more freedom with what they can do, generally, INEOS. But if we play a game of like extend the musical chairs, so if Specialized go to INEOS, that leaves Pinarello in the lurch.
Yeah, so this is probably the worst kept secret, which is the Pinarello are following your mate, Tommy, over to Q3 36.5, and who are a pro-continental team, but there's reasons behind that with the owner of the Q36.5's involvement with Pinarello. Yeah, I mean
Pinarello made a mountain bike for him.
Yes,
from scratch. So it would make sense if they were finally like, can we just get back on? Does he ride the Pinarello mountain bike still?
That's a great question, Jesse.
Yes, he has a 3-year deal with Pinarello on the mountain bike.
Okay.
And that was announced only 6 months ago. Okay. So he's on Pinarello mountain bikes.
I would argue he probably has a 3-year deal on the road bike as well, but he's probably had to delay a year of that to go through the Scott situation with Q36.5.
So that puts a bit of weight behind that then. So what do you I like that. A pro Conti team. I always think that the Q36.5 kit looks cool, kind of a bit more fashionable. Stick them on a Pinarello. I think it fits.
Yeah, I don't hate it. Don't hate the move. We can come back to Scott.
Okay.
Because that's going to be an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
So my other little bit of mail, which picks up on some of our chat from the other week, but Bahrain,
Mm-hmm.
leaving Merida and heading Celeste, going for a bit of Bianchi Ultra in 2026.
Okay.
I
I just don't have really many thoughts about that team in general. They just seem to...
It's a bit of a meh.
It's a bit of a nothing team.
Yeah.
From Merida, which for anyone in the US is an irrelevant brand, really. I mean, good for Bianchi back in the top leagues.
I think that's the only decent takeaway from this is that they stay involved. It's pretty clear Archaea are going down a league, but yeah, I mean, I'm a bit like you. It's hard to get particularly excited one way or another about what Bahrain are up to. It does.
That would mean then Merida would potentially be out of.
It's looking more and more likely.
What's the
Merida
next
gone.
best Merida sponsored team? Do they sponsor a sub World Tour level team? Nothing comes to mind.
Pause.
It might take a while to find that. But we speculated that new bike that was getting released a few weeks ago could have been a Merida. And so it's interesting they're going to release a new bike and there might not be a World Tour team to ride it if that doesn't make it out this year. They have if they're going to remain a road brand, they have to release new bikes. So that doesn't. It's not like, oh, we're going to stop producing new bikes because we don't have a World Tour team. I'm just curious who's going to be riding that new bike if it is a Merida.
You're dead right. Given that they're putting the investment into upgrading the road line and clearly the top end of the road line, to then step away from the World Tour would be, it'd be a tough sell for a brand that, let's be honest, already struggles with any kind of performance premium cut through when it boils down to it. I mean, it lives in the value range. That's great. Scott. So we sort of briefly mentioned that. So Q36.5 going to Pinarello. No obvious home. No one slid into my DMs about Scott. And that to me would be really disappointing, actually, if we saw them, because they are releasing quality product. That Addict, I think, is probably one of the better releases of the year so far. The foil tests really well. Company that still seems to really prioritize R&D. It would be sad to see them fall out of it.
A brand like that needs a World Tour team. That doesn't make it. That doesn't. Pinarello, if Pinarello went out of the World Tour, you go, yeah, they'd make it work. Scott.
That's a dramatic fall too, because like 2 years ago, they had a World Tour team. Now this year, they've only got a pro team. And then we're looking at next year not having even a pro team. So that's a big fall.
Well, maybe they would go to Soudal. Because you got to complete the loop.
That's where I was headed
share.
with this.
Okay.
Is where would you like Scott to go? I reckon that's a really nice fit, Jesse. A really nice fit.
Mm-hmm. If you're a Soudal rider, you're on the S Works. Scott comes into the service course. You happy?
Given you. Yeah, I think you would be. I think you would be.
You get to pick between the foil and the new Addict.
Yeah.
I'd pick that over Specialized.
Yeah. Yeah, I got no issues with that. They'd be pretty pleased, I reckon. The only other one I could see is potentially going to like a FDJ or something like that. You know, they'd be pretty stoked to potentially get off a Lapierre. But apart from that, that poor Lapierre set up the picnic riding. That's basically killed their chances of survival in 2026. But yeah, needless to say. So they were my rumours going forward for 2026. Be interesting to see. My only other little tidbit for you was I touched on this when we were laughing at your setup. A couple of weeks ago? Yeah. We're still laughing at your setup, but laughing at your setup initially.
There's a few photos from the weekend I'm not going to show you. They're deep in the phone's memory. Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. That reel of us, you taking the piss out of yourself. Anyway, doesn't matter. So the UCI seriously considering putting a restriction on handlebar width. I've had that confirmed from a few different locations.
Okay.
The other thing that I've had confirmed is They don't have a size yet that they have locked in. They are also, because the problem is that it's going to be a ban for men and women. Because a 36 centimeter handlebar width for a female rider is probably in line with your shoulders.
You know how they'll do it? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
And that's what we're looking at the moment.
And ban from that one.
Ban from that one. Yep, pretty much. And there are bikes, there are industry people who are waiting to potentially release bikes, and they don't know what handlebars they should be releasing, whether they will be legal or not.
All right, Chris, you have a job at the UCI. I'll give you your little badge. Where are you drawing the
38s.
line?
38s.
38s in the hoods or 38s in the drops?
38s
Are you
in the
allowing
hoods.
flare?
Yes.
Okay.
38s in the hoods.
38s in the hoods is as narrow as you can go.
Narrow as you can go.
Wow.
Stick it out there.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to actually ban them, ban them. I mean, well, the first thing, is it a good idea? Is it a good idea?
I think the position riders are using with their hands is more dangerous than the bars being narrow. Because you could be on a set of 40s and still be doing that stupid thing where you rest your forearms and then you've got the palm of your hand up against the top of the hood and you're not even close to being able to touch the brakes. I think that, and if you hit a bump, your hand can just slip off. I think that's way more dangerous than just having like 34 centimeter bars and just be riding in the drops. So I think
that's
putting a
point.
ban just on a arbitrary bar width wouldn't really do much. I'd love to see them. I wouldn't love to see them. I would prefer to see them get tighter with the wording of the actual position you're allowed to ride in and police it better. Sit through the video and just go and have a card system. Go scan through the footage and go, that's so-and-so, send them a yellow card. Can't ride like that. Just do it that way.
Yeah, okay. Because I even noticed in some of the, like that unbound footage, you had guys putting gaffer tape and grip tape across the top of their handlebars for that exact position that you were talking about.
Oh, my actual opinion is that let the boys play.
Yeah.
I actually don't. It's pro cycling. Let them ride. I still have the opinion, based on the amount of pro cycling I've watched, that there's not that many crashes being caused from the rider's hand position. I think bring back the super tuck. I think let them ride with whatever hands they want. Don't interfere. But if you're going to put a rule, at least make it make sense. So yeah, that's what I think.
Oh, the super
Because you watch Unbound, it's just like, do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want.
It's like, yeah.
Oh, the super tuck. It's that Froome stage was the stage because it was being replayed this week. That was the stage that almost got it banned.
Oh, yeah.
It's him doing that by himself.
How many years ago is that now? What, 5?
That was 2018.
That's, oh my gosh.
2018.
7 years ago.
Oh, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so there might be... You
might be banning him. Will be banning. I think your position will be big cross through it, definitely.
32 on the hoods, 36 on the drops.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't feel that... I feel perfectly safe and it doesn't feel dangerous at all. So, yeah.
Maybe it's not a safety banning. Maybe it's just an aesthetic banning.
It's just fair, absolutely.
A general aesthetic
absolutely. I agree. I'm going to send you the photo now. You can put it in. Just flash it up for like 5 seconds. It's actually, no, I'm fully. But no, I'm serious. No. Don't laugh. I'm doing a full audit. I'm having a full. No, it's gone too far. No, I'm having a top to bottom reassessment of everything. No. So we got.
Go on.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean, the helmet's being reassessed. Because the visor was fogging up. So then when you have the POC Pro Scenario and you don't run the visor, it's just not good.
That.
So
yeah,
that's
no shoe covers. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, okay. So that's getting reassessed. I'm thinking Evade 3 is just going to be much
being
better.
run next to you there?
No, that's the Trek Ballista.
Okay.
Also a nice looking helmet.
Yep.
Decent option. Anyway, so that whole helmet situation is being reassessed. Now, for the full finger gloves, I actually have a reason for that. I think that's a marginal confidence gain, and I'm not. If I can fix everything else, I'd like to keep the full finger gloves. It does, and if I crash, I'm not going to ruin my fingertips.
Yep.
Because I spend all day on my computer. So the full finger gloves, which are basically mountain bike gloves, which I use in crits, I'll try and keep. Now the shoe situation, so it's an Aero sock.
Mm.
The shoe, I don't like the look of Aero socks with a bare shoe. As a general rule, I do think overshoe is just a better look.
Mm.
So,
but those orange shoes are terrible, Jesse.
Yeah, they are. They are not good.
And they don't really match. I mean, I understand that you think they're matching the kit and the bike, but they don't.
No, they probably are due a wash, which may help bring the orange out. The problem is, I have another pair which are pink in the RCC colours, which doesn't help.
No.
And then I have a white pair, but they're the ones with the elastic laces, and I prefer the boas.
Yeah.
They are the perfect shoe for me, so I just don't want to touch my shoes. So I'm going to have to live with, I'm probably just going to start going overshoe for everything. Because I'll send you a photo back from Amy's last year.
Mm.
I looked pretty, that was a decent setup.
Decent setup.
I think I'm going a bit faster, but it's absolutely just not worth it. So that's, the foot combinations being reassessed.
Mm-hmm.
The helmet combinations being reassessed as we speak.
Yep.
And then I think I can, look, the position... The position's fast, so I'm not gonna. I don't like the look of the narrow handlebars.
No,
it doesn't look good.
No.
But what do I do? Do I go back to a slower position?
Do you find yourself in the drops? Were you finding yourself in the drops quite a bit again?
Well, in this race I was, because you just it was a handicap, so you're just rolling turns the whole time. You're not actually pulling turns.
Yes.
When I'm in Centennial Park doing efforts, I spend more time in the hoods.
Okay.
So tucked in.
Okay.
I'm kind of liking the slightly higher stack, longer stem thing. This, by the way, this isn't the full Arne Peters. I've got it flipped.
No, you've flipped
back around. Yeah.
But
it's not doing me any favors. So, but I'll try and leave that. I mean, I don't like the look of it. The narrow thing.
It's a real vibe. It's because it's all that, isn't it? There's no alternative to it. You can't.
But potentially,
there's no panache to it.
I think a few changes. If I fix the helmet and the shoes, the foot combination, that probably it could maybe work.
I agree.
It's just yeah. It's like you put 3 or 4 of them together and it looks worse. You fix 2 of them and you don't really notice the position. So anyway, I admit it. Yes, I accept.
There's a full reassessment occurring.
Yeah.
No, that's I appreciate your honesty. I think we can all move forward. The black helmet is really difficult. It's just a really difficult, unless you're just going full ninja from top to bottom. Even with a black bike, you can potentially pull it off. But just
the other thing, I could be a bit leaner. Like, you can't get. I look a bit big, but there's not much calf going on here. Like, I would look better if I was a few kilos leaner.
But
just sharpen up around the edges. I mean, that would make a difference. I
think that's sort of the go of the whole Aero thing, though. That character is normally, in my mind, a bit of a bigger guy. Is the full Aero nerd tends to be
maybe a few kilos over that. Okay. Where that sort of slightly boppier sweet spot is. If they could be back at sort of 82, 83, I reckon I'd be getting away with a bit more. I'm really, like, this silhouette's not getting away with anything.
No.
It's just, not working. Now that we're talking, sorry for anyone that actually wanted proper topics, we're just talking about crap. For those of you OGs that have been listening to the show for a while, you remember this was one of the last races I did in 2024 that I did on my rim brake TCR, and I was complaining that the course was really rough, and I saw Chris on his S5 with his 30 mil tyres, and I was very jealous.
God, was that only 12 months ago?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. It's
Wow,
insane,
okay.
isn't it? Yeah. So I'm not looking the part, but I'm saving a lot. I actually am saving a lot of speed. So numbers wise.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Do you want to do some
Yeah,
numbers?
yeah. This is good.
So last year, we averaged 43.4 kilometers an hour. This year, we averaged 44.3. So we were almost a kilometer an hour faster this year. I am also about 5 to 7 kilos heavier. I think I was about 80, 81 last year. Now I'm sort of 87-ish. So
Pretty flat, though.
it's kind of, well, no, you've got the climb.
Yeah,
you know,
okay.
you go around the
Yeah,
turnaround,
yeah,
you've got it.
Okay.
There is climbing in it. It's not
Yeah.
dead flat.
Mm.
So I'm heavier this year, and we went almost a kilometer an hour faster. Last year, I averaged 317 watts, normalized 354. This year, I averaged 304 watts,
Wow.
344 normalized. And so the numbers actually are kind of revealing what's happening there. The normalized power, only 10 watts difference, which makes sense because the power I had to do in the accelerations and up the climb, which was like a minute and a half long, that was about the same. Actually, I had to do more this year because I was heavier. So that sort of time spent above 500 watts was about similar, which is why the normalized power was coming the same. But because this year, my rear tire measured 34.5 mil and my front measured 32.5, and I'm running 46 PSI, I'm getting a almost 15 watt drop in average power.
Yeah,
and that's
wow.
all that time when I'm just rolling through for a turn steadily or coming back in the wheels. It's sucking the power out of all that time, and that's what pulls down the average, but keeps the normalized relatively the same. So you can see evidently there. We're going faster,
really
I'm
interesting.
heavier, and I'm doing less power. And I can say the race was about the same. You're in the same scratch group, you're rolling your turns with about 20 others, going hard up the climbs. It's the same thing pretty much.
And you were running a Nero skin suit, and I think you were running the Prosen last year. I think I did.
You did. I didn't run it last
You
year.
didn't
I
run
was, I was wussed out.
Yeah, that's
Probably smartly, given
Yeah.
what I look like this year. But you can see with the Prosen Air, Nero suit,
Yeah.
the new bike, the Aero frame versus the rim brake TCR, the wider tires, and the comfort. Well, I'm like floating through on the smooth sections. It was fun. So yeah, I mean performance wise, I'm way more optimized this year. So that's the positive of looking a bit stupid. It was huge watt savings.
All right, your setup then, despite what it aesthetically looked like, we've talked about, in comparison to the other setups that you're seeing at this event, what do you think? Where are you placed?
I had the best bike in the scratch group. Yep.
Okay.
But it's just because of the tires. I wonder if maybe you'll be able to dig up some footage from last year, maybe not. But it's rough, rough, especially when you go past the start finish line and do that section before the turnaround. It's just like constant rough. And from the stuff we've talked about, the cycling news test, you can kind of roughly look and go, oh, best in that road surface, like you're not saving 5 watts by going to a wider tire. You're saving, like, look at the numbers. I took 15 watts off my average power, and I'm heavier, and we're going a kilometer an hour faster. I'm doing more, and I looked, if you actually go to the climb section, I was doing more power up the climbs this year, which makes sense because I'm heavier. If I had to just guess over this course, what am I actually saving? With the Aero tweaked frame, with the Prosen Air, with the wider tires, if I take the 15 watts, add on a bit more saving because I actually had to do more power up the climbs this year and on the uphill sections, I'm pretty confident I'm at least doing 20 watts less than I was on the bike last year.
Yeah, rolling turns.
And the guys, and I don't think maybe guys couldn't really be bothered swapping tires out for one race. They're probably just stuck on what they had. But yeah, there's definitely still guys in scratch on a 28, like you could see as they're rolling through.
So that was my next question. So that you still think that's the thing that hasn't cut through, that it's just, I'm going to run a 28 every day of the week and just not change it. Whereas you're the other way around now. You're like, I'll run a 32 every day of the week and not change it.
Yeah, now I'll just run a 30 front, 32 rear and just pump it up higher if I'm going out to Eastern Creek on the racetrack, and then I've got it. I've got that wider one for a race like this. I mean, a lot of guys probably, they're not going to buy a new set of tires just to do one race. No, I don't know. Whatever. I'll do it. So, I think it's a massive advantage, and it was fun. It was really fun to go to a race. Which the good thing about a race like this, because the course is so rough, is you have avenues to make up speed. Other races, there's not that many gains to make, so it's a bit more fair. But on a course like this, I was looking forward to starting going. Now I'm pretty confident I have the fastest bike for this course in this group. And I stand by it.
Was there an Envy Melee there?
Edwin had the Envy Melee.
Yep.
Yeah. But again, I'm pretty sure he's still doing the 28s. So that's a good bike for this course actually. It's probably the next best setup. You put some lighter tires on in there. He'd probably beat my setup actually, because that frame is so comfortable.
Yeah.
And you know me and the power I do, right? I averaged 304, and I'm nearly 90 kilos. Like, you know what? I'm usually 330.
Yes.
Like,
that's
for me
power.
to average 300. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. To get around what was a hard scratch race and have gone faster, that's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe. I was like, I couldn't. I went home and looked at the numbers. Like, what? 304 average. When do I do 304 average?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, that's impressive. That's impressive.
Just a quick pause with a message from today's video sponsor, Insta360. They have a new action camera, the Insta360 X5. Chris, what can it do?
Right, yes, the Insta360 X5 is a cutting-edge new 360-degree action camera. It features a dual 1/1.28-inch sensor and triple AI chip system, enabling 8K video recording at 30 frames a second. The newer pure video mode enhances low-light performance. Additionally, the X5 introduces user-replaceable lenses, allowing for easy maintenance and extended durability, with a battery life up to 185 minutes. That's a lot of crits. And waterproofing up to 49 feet.
Well, that's actually pretty impressive battery life. So let's say you can record a whole crit. The problem is always the footage in a crit on a bike never looks that exciting. But what are you doing in the Insta360 app for a bit of a special sauce? Because I've seen you do this. What are those tools you're using to make it look essentially higher speed and more exciting?
The secret sauce here, Jesse, is it doesn't actually use GPS. So it links to your bike computer data. So once you get that time linked together, you go into the app and they've got a number of templates that you can choose from. I particularly like the orange one, the futuristic one. And so there's no syncing up GPS footage or anything like that because you've linked your bike computer to the Insta360 app.
Wasn't there the video effects though? The blur around the side, come on. I know you're sitting on something. What is that? What are you doing with that?
You're really going for my secrets. Yeah, so there's the motion blur.
Right.
So that will add a bit of motion blur to the footage.
You add that after in the app as an effect?
in the effect, in the app. Yeah, you're getting all my secrets now. Again, which just, it makes the stuff look like you're going a lot faster than you really are. Now, if you would like to go and grab one of these X5s, use the link in the description down below and you'll be able to get a free accessory. And that, of course, will also support today's episode. And a big thanks to Insta360 for doing just that, supporting the Nero Show. All right, so quick coaching administrative update.
Admin.
GSE, yes. Bits and pieces with the show, some of our own content, and your own coaching. Do you want to maybe start there?
Yeah, so a few updates. My son will be starting daycare very soon, which means I get some time back.
And you'll be getting sick every week.
And that's potentially going to happen. And so it's kind of fun. So I'm having more work time in the week now to play with. So a few things. Firstly, I think I'm gonna try and get back into doing some of the videos on my own channel. I've barely uploaded in like the last year and a half, but it's kind of interesting with training related videos. Information on training things you can get it anywhere now. There's so many videos on stuff. There's guys on Reddit forums that can recite, the research on the VO2 kinetics in different interval workouts. So information on training things is already kind of there, but I really enjoy doing that cycling coach react kind of videos. Because I think it helps people learn about their own training in a way that you can't get by just reading some science on something. And so those kind of videos I want to try and get back into. Should be starting to do a few more of them, and they'll go up on my own channel. Obviously, the other thing I'm going to do with more time is more coaching work.
Yeah.
And so this is actually a shout out. I've never done this before. If you inquired for coaching in the last year or year and a half, and we didn't have any availability, I have more availability now. So go on the Nero coaching website, fill in the form again, and that comes through to me, and then we can have a chat about coaching from there. Or if you were interested in getting coached, but maybe you just didn't think it had availability, or you just were sort of on the fence, if you want to get into it, have a look on the website. We've got all the information there. On the FAQ page, there's all details about what it's like being coached by Nero Coaching, and there's some videos on there explaining the process. So have a read through that. If you like the sound of it and you like sort of the coaching chat that we've had on the show, get in contact on the Nero Coaching site, because do have some availability to take on some more riders. And then the other thing it'll probably allow us to do is more guest episodes alongside a regular episode of the Nero show in the week. So if we do our usual show like we're doing now, we can use that extra time to do a guest episode. So there could be 2 episodes a week and not have the guest episode eat up our standalone episode. So it's just, I don't know, I'm excited to be getting more back into the kind of work I was doing before Ash. So pretty big change.
Awesome. So I'll put some of those links obviously down below for the coaching, etc. But that will hopefully free up a little bit more time for a bit more content.
Yeah.
Did you get excited about the Giro towards the back end, Jesse? Momentous.
I thought it was exciting. We almost kind of do this where a race happens and I have to kind of be like, I didn't really watch it and I didn't have time. It's like, I hate being that guy.
But you are that guy.
But I kind of am. But I followed the highlights on the whatever the hell they call that Eurosport YouTube channel now.
With all the emojis.
Yeah.
You notice that? They put 1 million emojis behind every title that they have.
Well, at least they stopped putting spoilers in the title.
Yeah, that's true.
So that was a plus. So I've been following it via that. I hate the standard someone says, have you been watching the Giro? And I go, well, no, I don't have 2 hours a day to sit watching a bike race. So no, I haven't been watching the Giro.
But do people do that though? Do people sit down and watch, sit down on the couch and go, I'm going to watch cycling for 2 hours?
I think so.
No.
Yeah, well, they do. Well,
I don't.
If someone...
Well, I still watch it, but I don't...
What do you mean? What do you mean by watch it?
I watch Test cricket. So it's on. It's on in the back. So my usual routine, if it's... Okay, this wouldn't happen for every stage, but again, in Australia, you've got the time delay, etc. And so I'll make an effort to not see the result in the morning. And then later on in the day, I'll put it on normally in the iPad, and I'll potentially use ExpressVPN and stream it via that, and bring in full download of the full replay and put on the last hour and a half.
I would totally burn out. It's way too much time involved. So I'll do it for the tour because it's the tour. But yeah, I'm not. And I don't understand as well. Have it on. What do you mean have it on in the background? Because if you talk about Test cricket, well, you're only really coming to check the score. But if you're watching the Giro, it's because you want to see when that rider breaks and you want to see the attack. If you just come in every so often check in on what the time gap is, you're not really singing the race. And so I don't how am I?
Yeah, I
just don't really get the whole watch. And so what highlight package is it? Like a 40-minute highlights?
No. I'll put the full replay on.
No.
I'll put the last hour and a half on.
No.
It just sits up. Now you could argue that I would miss the potentially more important aspects that the highlights might give me. Definitely, I'll accept that. I don't know. I feel like that gives me a good... I enjoy that. I enjoy it. I look forward to having that be part of my day, basically. It's not I need to find 2 hours to sit down and watch this.
But that's what it becomes for me. It's like a part-time job when a Grand Tour is on. I got to find time to watch this freaking stage. I mean, if you're doing indoor training, I get it.
That's true.
Because you hop on, you put it on, and it's an hour that you weren't doing anything else anyway.
That's true. The first week of the Giro, I was watching it on the trainer. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So imagine if you weren't doing that. When walking around for the first 2 hours of your morning with an iPad so you can, like, what?
Yeah.
So no, I ended up just watching the highlights. For the tour, I'm going to do that because it's a tour. You want to follow the tour. But I can't do that for every for three-week stage races a year? Like, it's too much of a commitment.
All right, well, putting our sad lives aside, Yates's win, phenomenal. I got a little bit emotional on that one.
Oh.
I did. Not because I'm a massive... just the story. Because you couldn't write this shit. Like, this is the climb that defined his career, his, sad to say it, failure, capitulation. I mean, I don't know how much of that 2018 Giro you remember, but he was fucking dominating. Like, he was roglifying every stage, taking all the bonus sprints. He had a 3-minute gap on Froome. I think he had like 40 seconds on Dumoulin. And he was he was on Green Edge at the time, and he had 40 seconds on Dumoulin. The TTs were done. All he had to do was get over this climb. And he lost 38 minutes or something on that climb. It was like a complete capitulation. And later on that year, he went on to win the Vuelta, but you could argue that was the moment his career kind of went from you're either going to be him or you're not. And he was kind of not. And to put that to bed, not only at the Giro, but on the fucking climb. And did it all on that climb. It was just incredible. Phenomenal. The way, obviously, that I don't think it was overblown, the Wout stuff. I mean, because they'd been getting Guy up the road throughout that last week in case this had happened. And I do think Wout's ride to get over the climb in front of Yates, I would love to see his power numbers, because that would have been bloody impressive to do that. I mean, UAE are copping a lot of shit about it because once they crest the climb, it seems as though Del Toro won't work with... They basically nullify each other and wait for the domestiques to come along. And
so what's the
point,
explanation? I mean, this race finished a few days ago now. What?
Well,
can you explain it? What?
No, not seemingly you can't.
So no one's explained what the hell.
But my argument would be at that point it's done anyway. I mean, the second Yates gets to Wout, it's done. Like, no UAE climbing domestique is going to be closing a gap on Wout van Aert on a downhill force flat and then force flat uphill to Sestriere. Like, it's done.
So
the race was lost
because the controversy was he didn't Del Toro didn't chase, and he was still happy at the finish line. Everyone's a bit confused. But what did he just not have the legs to follow on the climb anyway? So the gap opened up.
I feel like that's the answer.
And Yates was just better.
Now, Yates's climbing time is the record. He's done like a 58 minutes up the climb. No one had ever gone sub an hour. He put 5.5 minutes into Froome's time.
Yes.
Which was like, the mind-blowing attack that we all sort of couldn't get over 5 years ago, or it's longer.
When Yates dropped them, did Del Toro ride?
No. So Yates attacked them 3 times, and on the 4th time he got away. And really that 4th time that he got away was basically Carapaz, because Carapaz was the one closing every time. And basically that 4th time that Yates goes is just Carapaz going, well, fuck you. Like, I'm going to continue to react to this if you're just going to glue yourself just to my
So what's
wheel.
the read? Why didn't Del Toro follow? Did he not have legs? Because it wasn't the thing, but he had enough legs to sprint at the finish, so maybe he had more to give on the climb. He didn't do it.
Well, if he then starts reacting to Yates, he's then worried that Carapaz counters him, which he will, because
but it's like a
Carapaz
10% gradient.
Yeah.
You're not
getting that much of a draft.
Isn't
I
that
think
big.
that's very true. And once you get on the gravel as well, that the benefit of being in a wheel is even less because you can't pick your line and all the rest.
So
of it.
just to summarize, what's your opinion then? Is your opinion that Del Toro cooked the tactics, or that Yates was just better and it doesn't really matter what the other two did because Yates was going to put 2 minutes into them anyway?
Ultimately, I think if Carapaz he got very close. He got very close in one of his attacks back across to Yates. He'd just closed that gap to Yates, which he could have physically done, and they'd all sat on Yates then, or at least sat on each other. We would have had a very different outcome, definitely. But there was clearly a moment when Carapaz got within sight of Yates coming back at him that he was just fed up enough with Del Toro sitting on him that he wanted him to force him to close that gap, that they both blanked each other out. But if Carapaz had closed that gap, I think Carapaz maybe wins.
And does Del Toro have the legs to do that? So was that a tactical decision or did the legs make the decision?
Don't know the answer to that.
No one knows.
Don't know the answer to that.
Right.
Yeah. But I love the way the race played out. And I love the fact that potentially there's now beef between Carapaz and Del Toro. You can maybe have a bit of stink about that. That's good. Bit of rivalry, no issue there. But the post stage optics were very bizarre. You got Pellizzari coming up trying to take selfies with Del Toro. They're like brothers in arms at the finish line, smiling and taking. It was very weird. And meanwhile, you've got Yates on the ground, like just crying. It's like it was like how much he wanted it versus Del Toro came out the next day. He seemed far more somber and regretted some things, but just strange. But the guy's 21, so I'm not going to criticize him.
Washed.
Yeah, washed. Done. Exactly. Yates decided to ride an S5, which was kind of interesting. Very interesting, I thought. Like I was surprised by that move.
What would that bike weigh? So he's tiny, so he's on a tiny frame and the shallow wheels.
That's true.
But they're still reserves. They're still not that light.
No, there's no way it's 6.8.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
No way.
I was looking at it going, it'd be close to 7, maybe just under, but it's not 6.8.
No way.
And but then you're going, is it layups for the boys? Is that how?
Well, this is an interesting.
Because you're starting to go, right. So he chooses that bike. You think on the gradient he's going up, you'd want the 6.8 kilo bike. Obviously, you want the aero savings too if you can get them, but predominantly you want a 6.8 kilo bike. And so I'm assuming, and he had 2 by, it wasn't even 1 by. And so I am assuming that bike's 6.8. And if that bike's 6.8, doesn't it have to be layups for the boys?
That has to be a layup for the boys. That surprised me. That one surprised me. And if it is a layup for the boys, let the boys play.
I think you'd expected it.
I'd expect
if they're not giving him a T1000 layup, you'd actually just be disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, come on, why does he get the same layup as someone buying the Ultegra build get?
It does. Though then does ask the question of if you can lay up for the boys an S5 to 6.8 kilos, why is anyone riding an R5? Wouldn't you always just choose the S5 that you can lay up at 6.8?
No, I don't think.
Well,
I don't think Wout van Aert's
True
S5 is getting to 6.8.
Yeah. Well, see, that's
even with the special layup.
And see, the reason I said let them play is because I honestly think a layup for the boys S5 that you could probably have carbon that's about that thick would probably be a dog to ride, like out every day.
Probably,
but yes, I don't know that one surprised me, and the 5.5 minutes faster than Froome. I mean, was Froome okay? I want this to come off the wrong because I fan of Froome back in the day. I mean, he was on a Pinarello Dogma, Shimano wheels, rim brake,
asymmetric chain
rings. So a bit of gravel, all the rest of it. But was that sort of the climbing level back then? Like 5 minutes in an hour climb.
I think I saw 6.2 watts per kilo for Yates
Yeah, okay.
the hour.
And
I don't know.
Don't know.
No, I haven't.
I'd love to know what percentage of that difference is equipment and physiology. Because that's
Well, you're going up an hour climb at 9%. I don't think much of it's equipment.
no. Well, maybe the only thing I was thinking was potentially the gravel.
Oh,
Maybe you're getting.
did Froome go over the gravel section too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Exact same climb. And the reason that blows my mind is so much is just because Froome's attack and that ride that day was just, it was mystifying. It was, oh my God, he's just blown up the Giro. Remember there was that SIS, remember the whole SIS fueling video that came out about it? That he had people stationed throughout the stage.
Wasn't that
He
so?
actually
Sorry,
had carbs for
was
a day.
that the? I thought there was different. Was that the same stage where he did the raid early in the stage?
No, this is it. Went from 80 Ks out.
Oh, that was the same stage.
Same stage.
Right. Okay, I see. Right.
Same stage, slightly different finish. They didn't finish up Sestriere. They finished up a different climb.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. How good? I'm just looking at the photos of Adam Yates. How good would it feel to go up that climb at 6.2 watts per kilo?
How good with that?
That
though.
would just imagine I kind of like the sensation that must feel to go up the gradient at like 22 kilometers an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you just hit every hairpin. You just get out of the saddle and you just zip around it.
Yeah.
Like that must just be so fun.
I reckon so. I reckon he's probably doing about 380 watts for the whole thing. Because the live data was really accurate for once, I found, on the telecast.
That ball 6.2 watts per kilos. If he's like 61 kilos, that's 380.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would flash up quite often, and it would.
Oh, they had the power data.
The power data, and it looked really accurate. He'd be like 380. He might spike at 400 going around a hairpin, drop back down 380. Yeah. 380. What's your weights? That'd be fucking great.
That'd be just But for that duration, Pogacar's doing like 6.6. Because they were claiming 7 watts per kilo for 30 minutes. Or even maybe slightly above, like 7.1s for that, sort of not the full hour. So, yeah, it's a whole nother ballgame. when you get Jonas and Poggy, it's like,
Who would have you said if I'd said someone's going to win a Grand Tour in 2025 and they're not named Pogacar, Vingegaard, Roglic, or Evenepoel? Who would have you gone with?
I'd stick with the two big teams. A UAE rider or a Jumbo rider. So you'd probably like Almeida or maybe like maybe like a Jorgensen could jag one.
Yep.
Probably one of those two.
I was going to say Almeida.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just thought could maybe get a couple of solid time trials in, hold the jersey, team defends it, jag a few bonus points.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's where I was going to go. Almeida. Yeah, Jorgensen, good one.
I don't think the kind of Carapaz-esque sort of the landers and the climbers, they don't hang it these days. They don't. I think the day of the climbers done.
They're all going too fast up the climbs. That's the problem. Like the climber now needs to put so much more time into the.
That climber probably needs to just go to the Volta now. Like I don't think the gradients are steep enough in France and Italy.
Yep.
Like what? Because when you're doing the climbs at 6.3, 6.4 watts per kilo, and it's only 8%, you're still going like 20-something K an hour. You need the rampas to actually split it if you're 55 kilos.
And they didn't really have any mountaintop finishes, and they probably aren't going to be able to do many mountaintop finishes in the Giro at the moment because they're trying to stay away from having races cancelled and stages cancelled. So... Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this week's episode of Dog or Fast Bike.
I had a rider at the race on the weekend said, "This is the best segment you've ever done.
Oh wow!
This is the highlight of." They said, "Oh, I don't watch your show. I just skipped to Dog or Fast Bike."
Wow!
Yeah.
Okay.
So, hello to everyone that hasn't listened to anything else we've said so far. Nice to have you here.
It's also the only segment we've ever done, but there you go. All right, starting off with a Cannondale Super 6 Evo Ultegra Di2, Magine power meter cranks with 5339 chainrings, NV 7.6s with GP 5000 STRs in 30mm, NV SES Aero handlebars 37 centimeters, NV 120mm stem Trek Aero bottles, Hilux Zero setback seat post, Riot 3D printed saddle, Jesse Coyle. There it is.
No, this is tickling me all over. This is up there. Oh, there's a lot here.
Mm-hmm.
I love this.
Yeah.
This is amazing. Okay, I love the Aero bottles.
Yeah.
Just out of irony, just good. Do it. The Riot saddle and the Magine power meter. Yeah. They work. They're cheaper. They're good. The Envy, the Big Dog Envies. So, I mean, that's not a cheap frame, but that's just the high mod version it looks like. So, you've kind of gone, where should I blow some cash?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'll just get the Envies with the white logos.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board.
Mm-hmm.
30mm GPs. Oh, I mean, there's nothing I'd change. No, there is nothing I'd change. I would just run Asiomas and just run a standard crankset. But if I wasn't going to do that, that's probably the power meter setup I'd get. So that's a freaking fast bike. Tell me anything that you don't like on that.
No, I absolutely love it. I think it's even a nod to my 3D printer guy in WA. I reckon that's a concentric cycling Varia mount there on the rear. Big fan of every part of this bike. I'm scanning for something I don't like. Matt,
tell me this person isn't from New Zealand.
Oh.
That is a Kiwi.
You reckon that's a Kiwi
that
bike?
is a Kiwi.
All right, leave
absolutely.
that with me. I will go back and double check it. I will give you the.
This person's done Tour of Southland. It's guaranteed.
All right, certified. Fast bike. 52 centimeter 2023 Merida Sculptura with SRAM rival. We have at 8.2 kilos, but hang on. We have some upgrades here. We've got Streckenhams at 1028 cassette, 4835 chainrings, paired to a 165 centimeter cranks. We have the.
So this person's saying they have climbing wheels, which are Caden, but we're only going off the ones that you put in the photo because we're kind of rating the photo.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
exactly.
So these are the custom-built light bicycle wheels, which is a 56 deep, 23 internal, 30 external.
Yep. 28mm GP 5000s, measured 30 millimeters. 65mm deep, 25mm rim internal, 32 external.
So just to summarize, so it's a Merida Sculptura with a SRAM Force group set, but it looks like a red crankset, integrated bars, and a set of light bicycle wheels with steel spokes.
What's the seat post?
That's not the stock seat post, is it?
What is it? I understand that I'm on the record saying that the Merida Sculptura, I think 9,000, was a bike that I had some time for in the years gone by. But unfortunately, this version is not fast. I like what you're doing with your wheel set. You're trying to give a nod to some wide internal rim widths. It's noted. But ultimately, that frame's going to be dog slow.
Yeah, I really feel like there's a lot of kind of parts trading going on. Like I bought it with this and then I upgraded to this and swapped that. And then I got 2 sets of wheels, swapped the cranks, sold them on Marketplace. I just don't think you've really ended up with a killer package. I mean, you probably got some good value and you've made a bit of a decent bike out of it, but it's not a fast bike. And I think if you could just go back and start from scratch and just pick the parts, it probably would have cost you more up front, but you would have had a faster bike. So that is dog of a bike.
Gen 7 Trek Madone SLR. Paint job is called Crystalline Prismatic. It has Zip NSW 454s, the brand new Michelin Pro 32C tyres, and he's currently testing that's measuring 33.3 on the wheels. It is a mix of SRAM Force and Red, Dura Ace plus 4mm pedals, upgraded Aeolus carbon saddle, 145 millimeters, my favorite saddle. It has 2 full centimeters of spacers, 37 in the hoods, 41 in the drops, 110 mil negative 7 degree bars.
Dog of a bike.
Wow.
Yeah, no, I've got a reasoning here.
Mm.
Can I talk you through it?
Yeah, talk me through
So
it.
that's a Project One paint job. That's an expensive frame. Because Trek have the when you do the Project One, if you pick the bougie paint jobs, it adds like an extra grand, an extra $3,000. This is probably a Australian dollar $25,000 bike when it was released.
Oof.
With that paint, with the zips, the SRAM Force, SRAM Red. And there's a few things going on which I think make it a dog for the money. I would have gone the non-Project One and then sunk the money into the new SRAM Red group set. You get the new streamlined shifters, the better braking. I just think the performance increase and the enjoyment you get out of the newer group set would be better spent than the cool-looking paint. Obviously, I love the old Madone, so nothing bad to say about the actual frame shape. Zip 454s for that coin. Could be a set of scopes in there. Could be a set of envies in there. Basically, pick what you want, money-wise. I don't know if the Zip 454 is my money, no object wheel set I'd pick, although they do look really cool with that paint job. For those reasons, there's a lot of money here, and I don't think you're getting your money's worth.
But is it a fast bike, Jesse? Putting all that aside, I just want to ask you that question because I don't disagree. But is that a fast bike?
I'm going to do. What do you mean by fast? Like, yeah. Yeah. Look, I feel like dog or fast bike has changed in meaning slightly.
Oh.
Technically, yeah, stick it in the GST wind tunnel and it's probably 204 watts.
Mm.
If you put some Aero bottles on it.
Mm.
It's a fast bike. Would I give it a fast bike sticker for that money? Don't think so. What do you think?
No, I think this is a blatant misuse of funds.
Okay.
Jesse Coyle,
Right.
a blatant misuse
You've
of funds.
been audited by Chris Miller.
Yes, I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, it's for what you've spent here on this, I think unfortunately the mark has been missed, and you've picked out a few bits and pieces, and I don't disagree with any of them. I do know that those Project One paint jobs, and look, I'm on record, but weight doesn't matter. But that paint job will have added so much weight to that bike. It's going to be needless weight for ultimately what is a stealthy Trek bike. I reckon you could have shaved a heap of weight by running the kind of the matte black Trek finish with a nice chrome Trek logo. The wheels, they're not for me. We're on record with that. Is it a fast bike like you said? Yeah, I think it probably is.
I'm so conflicted. Would I ride this? Absolutely. This in my
Oh, yeah.
size, I would I would totally go for it. Yeah. If someone just handed it to me, I'd be like, oh, sick.
But again,
Yeah.
I'm going to say it. If you're going to get a bike like that, you got to get a bigger chain.
Okay.
Yeah, dog. Hurts me. Hurts me to say it, Jesse, but that's a dog.
Mm-hmm.
A quick shout to Blindy Bikes, friend of the channel, bloke who races around Central Park, New York.
Right.
You following him?
No.
Brilliant. Sold his Amonda? Sold or he smashed it? Can't remember. But he was delighted. Got rid of the Amonda. He's like, dog. I hate this piece of shit.
Okay.
Dog.
What do you get?
And he's gone and got a Trek, a Madone. He's like, don't worry. It's the Madone Gen 7.
Right.
Not the Madonda. So he's on board.
Oh, sick.
Yeah. I'll put a link down to him. He's quite funny.
Is this whose bike it is?
No.
Oh, right. Oh, that was a separate story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Separate story. He's on YouTube. Right.
Oh, we've got a fourth.
We're finishing on a fourth. This came in late.
Okay.
Frame. Dogma F. A Zurich yellow. Size 50. We're on here. Wheels. Newman Sprint Venoa with hidden valves.
Yeah, that's the ones that come on the cube.
Yes. GP 5000 STR 30s. Shimano Dura Sprint shifters, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
N34. SRM PM Power Meter 9. Dura 5440. The most, is it most or moist? Most Talon Ultra Fast 40, 130. Actually measure 38. The chains KMC. Rotors are Galfers. Of course they are. 160 front and rear. Ceramic speed bottom bracket. Yeah. Would you ever? Else?
Top to bottom.
Cellar Italia SLR boost. Superb. I could place my butt on that quite happily. Ooh, what happened?
Right.
Pedals are Dura-Ace. Extras. Got extras here, Jesse. Mech hanger is a frame and spear aftermarket. Garmin mount is a frame and spear aftermarket. Axles, overfast carbon. Bar takes Silka. Give me your. I need a width. Bottles, a Trek Aero, and of course, a bit of ceramic speed. OSPW for fun. That is how you spend $20,000.
See, I don't reckon that's going to be much cheaper than the Trek Madone we just talked about.
No.
If you go through it.
Is it going to be any faster? Probably a little bit. I've got it on record. That tests very fast.
Okay. Well regarded in certain circles.
In certain circles, it is considered quite the rival. That's fucking fast, boy.
Yeah, I mean, far out.
Yeah.
That is totally.
We could put that right
there. Yep. Those wheels look sick.
Yep.
There's a lot of scope going on with these wheels.
Mm-hmm.
Not many spokes. Hide the valve. I think that's a fast wheel.
Get the valve.
Yep. No need for
Where
valves.
are you with? Do I need gaffer rotors?
Why has everyone got Galfa rotors?
I don't know. I feel like I need them.
Yeah.
Everyone's sending them in.
Yeah, Galfa.
Jesus, get me on a set.
Galfa rotors.
The bloke on the bloody Merida had them. Jesus. All right. Is it a weight-saving thing or is it a braking performance thing?
I think it's weight-saving.
No idea.
I think it's fashion.
Okay.
How much are Trek making off those Aero bottles? I reckon they've made more off the Aero bottles than the new Madonda. I wouldn't run an SRM power meter.
I would. I have. I have that. That's brilliant.
There's one up there.
That's
just on the shelf.
That's the original.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you run an SRM power meter?
Why would I?
Because you have to run a power meter because it's the Shimano system.
Right, so there's no reason. It's just...
Well, no. But if you've got a Pinarello and you want to put a power meter on it, you're getting a bloody SRM every day of the week. Every day of the week. No, fantastic. More of those. Sitting more of those. So what did we have there? We had 3 dogs and a fast. No, we had 2 fast bikes.
2 and 2.
2 and 2. That's good. That's good going. Good little collection this week.
What do you think's faster? The Super 6 that we said first with the deep envies, or the Dogma with the Newman?
Dogma.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't think it's close.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's close. Yeah, that Dogma's fast.
Be lighter too. That'd be quite a bit lighter than that Cannondale.
I don't think I've got a bike more wrong than the new Dogma.
Wow.
I'm pretty sure I'm on record at some point this time last year saying it was underwhelming.
Too stiff, wasn't it?
Too stiff.
Everyone's saying it was too stiff.
I was whinging about it. There was not much new. It was too heavy, not fast enough. No, I'd 100% ride one. No 2 ways about it.
Right.
Get me on one.
Okay.
Yeah, I've flipped on that.
Yeah.
Absolutely flipped on it. All right, before we go, I thought we should just quickly discuss my recent travels to WA, where I attempted to revisit a bike race where I got a mechanical at 12 months ago, and get around 7, which is I hate saying this. UCI qualifying
Gravel race.
It's just a gravel event with a UCI sticker. So I go over, do a good event, etc. It's a gravel event. Gravel's loose as fuck. As my race plays out, that's what I'll tell you about it. Race plays out, missed the front split, which has got like Marco and stuff in it, but that's cool. I'm not in that category of rider. Second group on the road. Happy. I like my second groups on the road. And we're picking guys off as we go along, and I'm hanging in, I'm riding pretty well, getting the hang of it, and hitting my nootropics towards the back end, so I'm starting to get a nice caffeine buzz on. We're starting to think, it could be top 10, more guys getting dropped from the front of the race. And 25 kilometres to go, literally 25 kilometres to go, bang, smack. You got a big rock in the middle of the road, and flat, blow the front wheel out.
Yes.
Good
blowout.
First blow, plug in, hit it with a thing, doesn't seal. Another plug, hit it with my other one, doesn't seal. Great. Now what? I start walking. Lots of people actually, because at this point you're on the course where there's other people doing the course and from shorter distances, and they offered to help me. And eventually, one guy gives me like 5 canisters, and we get a selfie. He goes off, and eventually I actually get it to seal, and I managed to ride in the last 25k on what was a cracked front wheel.
So Silka don't have to pay your race day bonus.
No,
for your flat.
I don't know how that I have no idea how that's sealed, because once I got it home, I was like, holy shit, there was a massive crack in this rim.
Warranty?
Yes. That was, Zip, Reserve, and I don't know which others, but there are no questions asked. Envy. No questions asked warranty. So, yeah, done. But that's not really why I brought this up, Jesse.
No, well, that same thing happened to you the previous year, except it happened about 3 kilometres in.
Yeah.
So you've flown across the other side of the country to do a gravel race 2 years in a row, and you've just straight flatted out of them twice. Is this making you reconsider gravel?
Yes.
It really is?
Yeah,
at this
it
stage?
is. It is.
Because I'm going, you're not going to go back a third time, are you?
It's making me consider what I want to get out of that sport. Because, so the problem is that the actual buzz you get doing well at it is quite a good high because of the lows are so low. Like I have to start to mentally think about, like, you just have to become okay with DNFing races. That just has to become something you get used to, or I just stop doing them, because I do get really pissed off about them. Because I'm just, there's not been many road races that I've DNF'd
that
out
you would
of.
just go in expecting to DNF.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what's another sporting equivalent where
Well,
you're just expecting not to
like,
finish.
So I got back that week, and then I went onto YouTube, right, and I have a look, and so Ed Laverick, he's YouTuber, he's better road rider than me, but similar in the sense that, like, he's starting to do, because he's been forced to, because there's not much else out there, he's starting to do some gravel stuff. He does his gravel review of one of his gravel races. Same thing. DNF with a mechanical. Dave Arthur. Dave's doing a gravel race in the UK. Mechanical. I sit on the side of the road for 40 minutes fixing a flat.
Yeah.
And I'm just watching all this stuff and having my own experience. I'm going, what are we doing? What are we actually doing here?
Great question.
And so I am really torn with it, because I do actually really love the event, the challenge, the race of it. But to me, I don't know whether the equipment hasn't caught up, or whether I'm like pushing myself too far out of my comfort zone, because there's always that, there was always those guys in races that would crash or would get mechanicals, but you kind of knew why. because they were probably not like weaker or, just not. I don't think necessarily like a bike handling thing, but I tended to find like if I was at the weaker end of a field, that's kind of when you would start getting mechanicals, or that's when you would start getting caught up in crashes. So potentially that's what's happening to me now, is that I'm just in the sort of hanging on phase of this racing. So that's why I'm starting to get mechanicals. But then I talk to more people in gravel about it, and they're like, "Oh, but you've only had like 2 mechanicals and you've done 6 gravel races. Oh, that's a good strike rate."
What?
I'm like, no, that's not a good strike rate. 1/3. Yeah. So I don't know the answer. I'm almost buying your cynicism. No, I've always been cynical about it, but yeah.
Well, it's like, is it your fault? Are you doing something wrong? Is it an equipment thing? Like, should you just be running thicker tires?
Should I now just fully go mountain bike tires? Because there's a whole other thing. They all now just run mountain bike tires on their gravel bikes, and I'm still running gravel tires. So potentially, yeah.
Because your setup at the moment for what you're doing, it doesn't make sense. Why? If you're going to a race with a 1/3 chance of DNFing, where's the motivation to go in the first place? If I had a 1/3 chance of DNFing a road event, I would stop going.
No.
What are we doing here?
100%. Yeah, especially given the travel that's involved.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's just the mechanical side of it. Like, then there's the actual crashing side of it, which I've been super lucky with. Like, I've seen some horrendous crashes in the gravel races I've done so far and avoided them by bees' dicks so far. Brenton Jones has won at Rattle Gravel being the most confronting. But yeah, I don't know. It's I'm going to take a bit of a break from it, and reassess it, I think, because the high is a high. Don't get me wrong. Like, that Dirty Warney ride will be kind of I will love that. But then maybe, I got lucky that day. Maybe I didn't get any mechanicals, so I don't know. I don't know where I'm at with it, and it's I still think like the barriers to entry for a road person is still pretty massive when it comes to this stuff. All right. Any other messages?
Nothing else. Shout-outs? No shout-outs.
No shout-outs?
Just shout out to everyone listening.
Just carry on.
Great to chat with you this week.
All right. We'll talk to you all next week.
See you then.